Hello, everyone. Today we are going to answer the age-old question of whether men or women are more likely to prefer In-N-Out Burger over other burgers in Southern California. Let's get into it. So, which is the best and who prefers what? As we can see in this graph that was created using R, we can see that the people who were randomly selected had the choice between Fatburger, Five Guys Burgers, In-N-Out Burger, Not Sure, Other, Tommy's Burgers, and Umami Burger. And the overarching, or the resounding answer was In-N-Out Burger amongst both male and female. And so because of this, I chose In-N-Out Burger to find out if men or women prefer it over others more often. So, the methods used to collect this sample. A poll was created where 500 random households were called, and they were randomly selected, and 252 of the randomly selected people were women, and 248 of them were men. These were all people located in the Southern California area, and so this sample aims to represent the entire population of Southern California and what their preferred burger is. We also use the R script for 6.3 to calculate all of the results for this. There is likely not much sampling bias in this sample, as the representative sample size was rather large and the proportions of men and women are very similar. So the results for this. So first, I needed to come up with a null and alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis was that the proportion of men and women who prefer In-N-Out Burger were the same. And the alternative hypothesis was that the proportion of women who preferred In-N-Out Burger was larger than the proportion of men who preferred In-N-Out Burger. Then, using the R script for chapter 6.3, I was able to calculate the proportions of men and women who preferred In-N-Out Burger, and the proportion of women who did was 71.4%, and the proportion of men was 64.9%. And then I also used the same R script to calculate the difference in proportions, which was 6.5%. After that, I created a visualization, which was the bar graph that was shown before. And then I had to check if a normal distribution was appropriate for this sample. And so I used the normal distribution script in R and found that a normal distribution was appropriate, as the results for this normal distribution check were 180, 72, 161, and 87. Then I had to calculate the standard error, Z-star, and 90% confidence interval. The standard error for this sample was 0.042. The Z-star score was 1.64, and the 90% confidence interval was negative 0.003, 0.133. We are working at a 0.1 significance level. After that was completed, I used the same R script from 6.3 to calculate the Z-score and p-value. The Z-score resulted in a score of 1.562, and the p-value was 0.059. And I will get into the interpretation of these results in the next slide. So, in the interpretation of this, we were able to find significant evidence to reject the null hypothesis that the proportions of men and women who prefer In-N-Out Burger are the same, and we are able to support the alternative hypothesis that the proportion of women who prefer In-N-Out Burger is larger than the proportion of men who prefer In-N-Out Burger. We know this because we were working at a 0.1 significance level, and our p-value was 0.059. This means that our p-value was significant at our given significance level, thus allowing us to reject the null hypothesis and support the alternative hypothesis. So, in summary, this study provides significant evidence that women are more likely to prefer In-N-Out than men are.